Good morning, guys. We are back in the kitchen today working on one of my all-time favorite recipes from last year, which was tomato soup. In the roaster here I have 5-gallon bags of tomatoes that were harvested from the garden and frozen. They have been defrosting overnight and we're going to work on them here in just a second. First, I am taking all of my onions, my carrots, and 2 full heads of garlic, and I'm going to get them into the oven to start roasting. The recipe in the book doesn't have this step of roasting your vegetables, but I think it's going to add a lot of extra flavor without a lot of extra work. So we're going to go ahead and give it a try this year and see how we like it. The original recipe is still very good. I just wanted to try something a little bit different this year, and this is a nice, easy way to do that. So while my onions, carrot, and garlic roast off, I am going to be processing my tomatoes. As I said, they were frozen and are now defrosted, and it makes it really easy for their skins to come off. So I'm just going to work my way through them and pull off the skins. We will be saving the skins to dehydrate and make some tomato powder with. My bag of tomatoes is not completely thawed all the way, and I'm not too concerned about that. Last time I let it thaw a lot more when I was making the barbecue sauce because I wanted to drive out as much of the excess water as possible to start with, so I didn't have to do as much work condensing everything down when I was trying to thicken my sauce. Since this is soup, I don't have to worry about that so much. Obviously, it's going to be more liquidy, so it's perfectly fine that some of these aren't all the way defrosted yet. Everything is now roasted, and I'm just going to dump most of this straight into the roaster here, which has all of my tomatoes in it. And as far as the garlic, I'm going to let it cool for a few minutes on its own, and then I'll take out the individual cloves and add those as well. So my roaster is going at 350, and at this point I'm just going to let it go for the next probably 2 hours or so, let everything break down, and work on a couple other things that I've got to get done today. So I just got done with all of the other processing that I had to do today, and we are moving back onto this tomato soup. I added 2 teaspoons of oregano, 2 teaspoons of rosemary, and 2 teaspoons of basil. I also have at least 1 quart of chicken stock here. I'm going to add that to this and see how I feel about the texture. I have a second one over here on the counter just in case I need to thin it out a little bit more, but we're going to start with the 1 quart and see how it goes. I did end up adding the 2nd quart of the chicken stock along with maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne and a 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika and another 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And that's it. Something I like about this recipe is how easy it is, especially when you do this kind of roaster process. It's very low maintenance. The worst part of this recipe is that it does take a long time in the pressure canner to process. Since I took most of the skins out, and after using the immersion blender, I am perfectly okay with a slightly chunky tomato soup. If you wanted something really smooth and to get every single one of the seeds out, you could pass it through a fine sieve and do it that way, but I'm totally fine with how it is right now. It tastes delicious, and I'm super excited to get it on the shelves. I've got my glass jars warming in the oven behind me here, and we are filling it to a 1-inch headspace. If you didn't get a very large harvest of tomatoes and you want to stretch your tomatoes a little bit further, you can add zucchini to a lot of these tomato-based recipes. I've seen people do it a lot on YouTube with no issues, but it just kind of stretches that tomato, so you could just add it to here, blend it in as per usual. Zucchini pretty much takes on any flavor that you put it with. It's very bland on its own basically, so it's a really good tip if you just don't have quite enough to make a full batch, or you're trying to stretch your tomatoes a little bit further. Well, there we have it, guys. Fresh, hearty, and rich tomato soup to last us all winter. It is the next day, and I am just double checking all of my seals. This process is fairly simple. It is just mostly pushing down in the center of these lids, and then I also do a short little fingertip test where I am just holding it by the lid just to make sure that the strongest seal possible has been made and that my stuff will stay good on the shelves for a long time to come. To serve this is really simple. Obviously it's soup, so you can just throw it on the stove and heat it up. I usually add about a 1/4 cup maybe of cream to my soup because I like a creamy tomato soup, but that is up to you. It is obviously ready to serve as is. If you guys like content like this, please let me know by liking and subscribing, and I will see you guys next time.